Hey, what is going on, my beautiful people? This is your certified life and relationship coach, Coach Court. Happy Sunday. And I am here to talk to you today about the difference between compatibility and complacency. Well, got an echo there. My bad. So, sorry, I'm trying to get that off here. Compatibility versus complacency. But if this is your first time viewing me, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel by clicking that subscribe button and ringing that bell so you're notified for the newest content. Also, if you want my help personally, reach out to me on my website at www.fruitfulseeds.com and leave me an email no longer than 2 paragraphs because it's really difficult to respond to the long emails. If you guys can hear me well, let me know. Thumbs up me. This is a new setup, and I want to make sure that it's crisp every single time that I get on here with you guys. And I'll wait. I'll wait for the notifications to come through for people. All right, so if you guys have ever heard about my membership or haven't heard about my membership, I'm just going to let you know. If you sign up for it through YouTube, I will get you a 20-minute coaching session. You'll participate in the group coaching sessions with us every month, something that I feel is very important because when you're going through a breakup and you're trying to heal, literally you need every resource you can get. And I want to make it as valuable and as accessible as I could for you guys because I know I've been there. I have been there 100%. When I'm looking for some type of coping mechanism or something, trying to gain some type of traction in my life, thumbs up the feed if you're just coming in. This is the reason that I created that, and this is like 70% off if you were to just reach out to me. You needed a session right away. This is a 70% off those one-on-one coaching sessions that I provide on my website. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. So if this is your, if you've never seen me before, I'm Coach Court. I created this community to help people get through breakups, help them heal, help them have healthier relationships by giving them tools and skills that they can use immediately, something that they can apply right away in order to change their relationship, shift the direction that it's going in. Because people don't reach out to me when they're happy and they're in a thriving relationship. They reach out to me when they're struggling. This is the reason that I decided to go extra hardcore this past few weeks. I want to connect with you guys every day because when you listen to videos, it's so much better when you're able to talk to that person in person, when you're able to catch them live like you guys are catching me now. Hey, what's up, Catherine? Hey, Kimberly. When you're able to catch them live, it's so much more soothing and relieving. It's almost like a webinar. So this is why I decided to do it. Today, we're going to talk about the difference between complacency and compatibility. Now, I wrote a quote about this and I posted on Instagram, getting good responses from it. I said, you know what? I'm going to go even deeper in this quote. All right. Compatibility includes good communication, great companionship, and selflessness. If you're resentful in one of those areas, you're probably not compatible. You're complacent. All right. Does that make sense to people? If you guys feel like that makes sense to you, comment down below, thumbs up. Let me know if that makes sense to you, but I'm going to break it down for you. Compatibility includes good communication, great companionship, and selfishness. And I feel if you're missing one of those keys to the ingredient to a healthy and thriving long-term relationship, most likely you're going to struggle. Most likely you're going to form some type of resentment about them because you're not getting your needs met. So if you are somebody who are in, okay, let's just say you have a really good friend, somebody that you've known for a long time. And because you've known that person, you try to form a relationship with them because they feel safe and you have good you have a good companionship. But if you guys struggle with communication, or if that person's selfish and they don't show up the way that you need for them to show up in a relationship, you're going to ruin the relationship. I have seen so many people that turn long-term friendships into relationships because they felt like everybody else was breaking their heart. This person felt safe. This person felt like it was the natural progression to go into a romantic relationship, but it ends up turning out bad. You can have a companionship and not be compatible, but have a really good friendship. Or you can have, um, you could be compatible. No, no. Let me make sure I get this right. I want to be very specific or accurate with my thoughts here. Um, I'm gonna break it down for you again. Compatibility includes good communication. So, all right. So you can be compatible. If two people have really bad communication, then it's almost like, all right, well, they kind of deserve each other. They're growing together. But if you have somebody that's a good communicator and the other person's a bad communicator, you're not compatible. After a while, the person that's the better communicator is going to feel like, all right, this just, I've seen it a lot where they say that we're just not compatible. I've seen dismissives break up with anxious people because the anxious person was complaining about not having great communication. So the dismissive person would say, "Oh, I guess we're just not compatible." Instead of learning the skills or facing that fear of learning better skills, learning how to communicate better, they just write the relationship off and say, "Well, we're just not compatible." Does that make sense now, Earl? Hopefully, I broke that down for you just a little bit better. People that um, settle for complacency, there's a saying, whenever you're not getting everything that you want out of a person, or it's not, if a job isn't up to par, not meeting your needs, there's a saying that said, well, we better just leave well enough alone, which means you're good with settling for good enough. And it's your birthright. It is your birthright to have better than well enough. You don't have to leave well enough alone. The minute that you realize that that person isn't able to meet your needs, even after you've communicated it well, you drew your line in the sand for what you won't tolerate. The minute that you continue to tolerate that, that's when you're starting to settle. Because complacency is basically settling. When you're settling in a relationship, you become complacent because you're not. And complacent people, the reason people become complacent is because they don't want to do the work. They don't want to go out and find somebody better. They don't want to get on a bunch of dating apps. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to practice. But you guys, I say this all the time, whatever you don't practice, you don't become good at. So if you ain't out there dating, if you're not out there trying to find a person that's going to meet a lot of the boxes that you have checked on your checklist, so you got 10 boxes on your checklist, but you settle for the five. That's becoming complacent. That means that you don't feel like you either deserve those extra five boxes, or you feel like those extra five boxes are unrealistic, or you feel like, and I know there's a certain attachment style that does this often, where they can have 8 or 9 boxes checked, but if that 10 box isn't checked, they'll feel like, well, this isn't. And I'm not silly. I'm not naive. I know that if you have 10 boxes, you'll settle for 70%. And that's okay. Because if that 70% is fulfilling for you, and the 30% is just kind of like, all right, those are just extra classes. We don't really need those. That's like trying to find the perfect relationship, and no relationship's perfect. But if you get 7 to 8 of those boxes checked, which means your needs are getting met, they're communicating well, you guys have great companionship. Let me break companionship down for you, because I believe that the definition of companionship is somebody that you're able to talk, you're able to have a really good friendship with. You just have that bond, you know. If you guys in here, say hello. I'm going to slow it down. I answer some questions for you guys. Questions on this Sunday. I typically don't do Sundays, but I'm here and I want to try out this new setup. I'm really excited to just get more hands-on with my communication with you guys, and my, what do they call it? What's the word? Um, Fellowship, I guess. I want to get more hands on with my fellowship, because when I post those pre-recorded videos, I can only talk to you guys through the comment section, or if somebody booked a session with me. But otherwise, I'm not able to sit here and talk to you guys face to face. So it's awesome. Catherine, where you from? If you guys got a question for me, I'm here. Let me know the question, and I'll do my best to field it. So if you guys are just coming in here, New York, all right. So it's like it's going on 5 o'clock there, huh? That's funny because I have a session with somebody pretty soon from New York today. So um, awesome. Synchronicity is what they call it. There are no coincidences in this world. So um, if you guys are just coming in here, just so you guys know, today's session was about compatibility versus complacency. Go back, check the replay, like the feed, love the feed, share the feed if you can, and ring the bell so you're notified from whenever I go live, because I feel like it's so much more valuable for you guys, and it's well worth my time to hop on here when you guys are notified, and I can get as much interaction as I can. Compatibility versus companionship. Oh, complacency. Sorry, I got my C's all mixed up. Coach Court got his C's mixed up. I feel like there are so many people that get complacent even after they know that the person that they're with isn't compatible. All right, because compatibility it's a recipe for compatibility, and this is just a few of them. But I feel good communication, great companionship, and selflessness is part of the recipe of being compatible with somebody. That means your goals are in alignment, your long term and short term. Whether you want kids or not, that's in alignment. Um, how you communicate with each other. You know, if and honestly, if a person isn't a great communicator and another person isn't a great communicator, they kind of deserve each other. That means that they're going to grow in, because I always say, because people say, you either grow out of love, you usually grow apart, or they grow together. I say, you know what, you can be with somebody and grow in love. So if you're with somebody that isn't a great communicator, you can grow in love for sure. Looks like my New York just got rescheduled. So looks like you guys got me here for a while. Anxious people are afraid of being alone. I could see them settling. Yup. Okay, so yes. One thing I learned about anxious, preoccupied people, me being one of them, is anxious, preoccupied people don't have a lot of relationship experience. I mean, they may have gotten into a relationship when they were really young, maybe 19 or 20. They married somebody that felt good enough and they wanted to leave well enough alone. And even through the toxic behaviors that they were with that person, they stick it out. They stick through it because people will stick around with people in order not to do the hard work. You know, they'll settle because in order to leave somebody, let's say they had to leave them, separate the kids, work out a divorce, work out child placement, they would much rather stay there and be unhappy and may like do a little hanky pank on the side than do the hard work, which is either go to therapy with each other, go to marriage counseling or couples counseling, or file for the divorce. They will avoid all of that just to be complacent, and it sucks because they're. I'm trying to give people the recipe. If you don't, if you notice a lot of these things within the first 90 days of the relationship, people can hide it. They can wear that mask. I'm not talking COVID. They can wear that mask for 30 days, for 90 days to 6 months, sometimes even a year. They're good at it. Depends on the frequency that you see each other, but they can keep that mask on. But I'm trying to tell people that if you see certain little things, certain things about their history, how they grew up, how their parents communicated with each other, or how healthy their parental relationship was. Um, some of the things that they've been through in their past relationships. You can see, if you see these things and you choose to ignore it, and you feel, you get a little arrogant, your ego gets in the way and say, "Oh, this person is going to love me regardless." They won't act that way towards me. If somebody said that they cheated in the past and they kind of don't have much remorse for it, and you still date that person, then you kind of set yourself up. When people tell you who they are, you have to believe them. All right, sorry, Earl, I got you. What if you and your girl are compatible, but they argue quite a bit, but are able to walk through everything once we've cooled off? That's not, um, Earl. I'm gonna be straight up with you, man, because that's the only way I can be. You guys have communication issues, because if anytime a person uh, gets into like these spats with their girlfriends, it means you don't understand women. Women, they don't. The healthy women don't like to argue. They will state what they need, state their concerns, and because men, we get complacent. I'm reading your comment right here. Men, we get defensive, and we feel like we need to fix it. Are we taking it as a personal attack? That's what caused the argument. Like, I'd be interested to know what type of things you guys argue about. That's a real easy fix. All right. Most of the time, it's just being able to just let your ego go, sit back, continue to ask questions, and actively listen, because there's a difference between hearing and actively listen. Actively listen to what she's saying. And when she gets done saying everything that's on her mind, you should be able to help her calm that anxiety and make her feel like she's being heard. Because that's one of the number one reasons that men and women have issues in arguments, is because women feel like the man just don't listen. If she's a healthy minded person, if she's somebody that um, isn't addicted to that toxic behavior, isn't somebody that's very explosive, you know. Let me know if that helped you out, brother. That is complacency, though. Unless you guys are able to talk, go to somebody and talk to somebody and learn better skills. And I tell people that all the time. Um, it's not about trying to change that person. It's about learning the skills that you need to learn in order to make the relationship work. Really simple. Hey, Wendy, Portugal. That is what's up. Thank you for joining me from Portugal. Portugal, is that how you say it? Portugal or Portugal? You got to kind of roll that T a little bit. You got it, Earl. No problem, brother. Kimberly, 100%. I stay longer than I should in relationships. Anxious style here. Dad left us and experienced trauma. Yeah, and that's that. You know what I say. Anxious people, the APs, we struggle with abandonment. The instant that we feel somebody pulling away, somebody is not as communicative if they as they once were, us and the fearful avoidant people, we feel we need to do something. We need to stop them from running away. We need to block them in front of the doorway. Say, no, you're not leaving me. We need to text them more and more in order to get them to message us back. And that's just not. It's not true. If anything, you want to match and mirror their actions. If somebody's pulling away, pull yourself away too. Go focus on your life, what you need to do. Ask yourself, what is it about this person not texting me back? And my dad, is funny because my dad said this like, I want to say it was like 15 years ago. I asked him about his cell phone. I was like, Dad, why don't you ever have your cell phone? He's like, I don't need that electric leash. I was like, that's funny. That's literally what it is. Back in the day, we had to call somebody, and if we didn't get a answer, we had to sit with that. We had to sit with. We made until they invented the voicemail system, or the voicemail box. which you probably end up leaving like 4 or 5 mail messages at a time. But until then, you didn't get the instant reply right away. I think because people constantly have their cell phones in front of them. You may see them active on Instagram and posting on Snap stories, or um, very active on Facebook when they got the little active now sign. And it does something to anxious people. It triggers them. It's like, man, I just messaged this person 20 minutes ago and they're active now. But you got to realize that free will, God gave us free will. If they don't want to answer you right away, if they don't feel like talking, they don't feel like putting that energy into the conversation, then that's okay. It's only when you let that bother you. It's only when you get bent out of shape is when um, the things really started to go downhill. I hope that helped, Kimberly. Kimberly's been around for a long time. I appreciate you. I can't believe you ain't part of the membership yet. You know what? I'm kind of disappointed in you, Kimberly. You should email me. I'll give you a free 15-minute session if you tell me why you're not a member. Is it the finances? Is it because of quarantine? What's the reasoning, Kimberly? Wendy, it's been 5 months since me and my dismissive ex broke up. He seems like he fully moved on now, but I think about him every day. What is it that you think about? And I'm gonna ask you this: what is it? What is your triggers regarding him? Is it every time you check Facebook, you feel like you have to check his page, or every time you go on Instagram, you check his page, or is it a song that comes on? Is it a show that you watch that reminds you of him? What is it that is triggering you and is preventing you from, unless you're still living in that hope phase, and that's the denial phase of the grieving process. If you're still in denial, then I would suggest that you really seek. I don't stalk them at all. Good, good. That's great, Wendy. But just ask yourself, what is it about this person that's preventing you from deactivating? Um, and what is it about yourself? What is it that you can do to replace that energy that you're sending off to him? And you know what? If you've been in no contact for 5 months, you are well past the grieving process for him. You can reach out to him and say, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, how's life? You didn't catch COVID, did you? Good, that's awesome. Hey, if you're ever available, let's hop on a FaceTime call, or let's grab some coffee or something." I give you that one. All right. FOMO. The FOMO, yeah. It's what is it? Okay, so you say that you feel like there's a way. You say you don't stalk him. I'm gonna call you out here, Wendy. All right. You say you don't stalk him, but you said it seems like he's fully moved on. How do we know that, Wendy? Hmm? Hmm? I'd like to know that one. It's when oh, all right, right. You just answered my question. It's when his friends post Instagram photos of him. You think you're slick, Wendy, that you're just backdooring around being able to see what his life is like. Because if you really want to fully move on, you'd probably delete his friends too. Anything that has anything to do with him, you're kind of like keeping tabs. Because right now, this is what no contact is. No contact is out of sight, out of mind. And right now, you're still getting those little Scooby snacks of information of him, and you need to completely pull yourself away from him in order to fully heal from him. All right, that means, if you got his cousins or his second cousins or third cousins on your Facebook page or Instagram, you might want to either mute those. If you don't want to completely sever ties, mute them so you don't see the new updates. Out of sight. What if they work together? That's a tough one. That is a very tough one. I don't know. I mean, then you just have to redefine the relationship. If you guys are working together, you're just going to have to understand that you guys are purely co-workers now. What's that song? Now you're just somebody that I used to know. It's a good song. They got so many breakup songs. You know the one I really like? Um, dude, I can't remember it. Let me know. Hey, you guys probably know this one. The guy that performed at the Super Bowl at halftime. What is his name? I forgot. That's one thing that helped me heal too. I listened to a lot of breakup songs when I was struggling. The Weekend, there it is. When I was struggling, I listened to a lot of breakup songs, and it really helped. What's the song that The Weekend have that talks about uh save your tears or don't cry? That one's kind of, when I think about that song, I think about the anxious avoidant dance. Save your crying or something like that. Save your tears. Go listen to that song. If you guys are struggling right now, go listen to that. Save your tears. That's the name of the song. Go listen to that song because it sounds like he's an avoidant and he's trying to like breadcrumb the other person to come back. It's a good song. Every time I listen to it, I kind of, and I, since I learned all this stuff, I really like kind of study people. I've always studied people. That's always been how I've been. But like certain things are really interesting. Like another example is you know, if you guys ever seen the cartoon Up, you know, the person who was who helped the little guy. I'm not going. I just got to move on. Tony Braxton. That's funny. That's my mom's favorite. That's probably how I became an anxious attacher. My mom used to listen to a lot of that stuff. Tony Braxton. That was her favorite artist, and we used to listen to a lot of her songs when I was a kid. The movie Up. If you guys know the Up, because that guy, he seems like he might be an avoidant type of person, but he's got that soft spot. He's got that soft spot for the kid that came around and was trying to earn his little badge. And it was interesting because he, you know, he was perfectly fine living in isolation, doing his own thing. Um, so, if you guys um, understand that analogy, or you believe it, or you agree with it, comment below. Thumbs it up. Say, yeah, you know what? You might be onto something there. Because I know one thing that we learned in coaching school is to break down the movie um, Frozen. You know, everybody knows who was who. Who everybody know who was the anxious attacher and who was the dismissive avoidant in that movie. Um, Clearly, Elsa was the dismissive avoidant, I believe. Elsa's the ice queen, right? And Anna was the anxious attacher. The anxious attacher, where she married the first guy she met when she got out. So it's like, wow, if you think about all the psychology that they put in these Disney movies and stuff, it'll blow your mind. And if you learn at a young age, which they're putting it in like the kids' heads, they start to learn these things really young, but they don't really quite comprehend it. Cold turkey is hard, coach. It's like death. How about slowly exiting? That's okay too, but I tell people if somebody that was an alcoholic, if you think about addiction, because when you're anxious attacher, you're really a love addict. You're addicted to those good feelings, those good chemicals that release from your brain when you talk to that person. But if you think about somebody who's trying to quit alcohol, you can't tell them to go work at a bar, or you can't mess around with that, because you know the saying, if you hang out in a barbershop long enough, you eventually get a haircut. So if you tell a bartender that's trying to quit, you can't have a bartender that's trying to quit alcohol, because eventually they'll either like cross addict to something else so they can not have that urge to drink, or they'll end up drinking. So if you're gonna just give yourself little doses of this person, then it's gonna make it really hard for you to completely move on from them, unless you're dating other people. There's 22 people in here. I should be seeing more thumbs up with this than this. What is going on? All right, I'm pushing on a half hour mark. I'm gonna have to jump off. I feel like part of my fear is believing I won't find one I love as much as I loved him, even though we had a really toxic dynamic. If it was a really toxic dynamic, I'm going to ask you this question. Was it narcissism? Because I see so many times where people get in these narcissistic relationships, people who can get manipulated easy. And I just want to know if you feel like that is the dynamic. Because if that's the case, then um, you're probably struggling from narcissistic abuse, and it takes a long time to heal from that type of relationship. Breadcrumbs are horrible, but I feel guilty if I don't reply. Feel guilty for what? Here's the thing: when people put you in a friend zone and you willingly stay there, and you know that's not what you want, then it just gives them free reign to go out and do whatever they want and not feel guilty about it. And then anytime you bring it up, you feel like, oh man, I really shouldn't have brought that up. But it's like that person told you that they wanted a friendship, and you said, I don't want a friendship, and you stay there. So you end up resentful or you feel obligated. You're not obligated to text them back. You're really not, if I'm being honest. He downgraded his subscription. Right? He willingly said, "Hey, I no longer want this full benefit. I'm just going to scale back to the trial membership." In a trial membership, you don't get text messages back automatically. That is not part of the plan. All right? So, match and mirror. Mirror and match. I've had so much progress healing my attachment style, and I know he's not the man for me at all. But I'm still scared I won't find someone I am attracted to as I was with him. It's because you're still attracted to him. That's why. And here's the thing about narcissists. They tear you down so much mentally. It's part of the plan to get you crippled and emotionally weak, where you are dependent on their fix. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the whole analogy about the elephant. If you stake an elephant to the ground at a very young age, they'll always feel not strong enough to break away from that stake. Unless something startles them and they rip it out the ground, they'll always feel like their little stake and their little rope is going to hold them there. And they'll never know just how big and how powerful they really are. You go to a carnival or a circus, that's exactly how they have their elephants staked. I've seen a couple times where they had chains, but it was always something that wasn't really powerful because they never quite knew. And that's getting out of a relationship with a narcissist. It's tough. All right. Happy Sunday. See you guys later. If you want my help personally, reach out to me on my website at www.fruitfulseeds with a Z at the end.com and leave me an email no longer than 2-3 paragraphs long. Follow me on my other social media accounts. Twitter is Coach Court 2. Instagram is I'm Coach Court. And Facebook is I am Coach Court. And if you like to join my membership program, I will be glad to have you, where we can have one-on-one sessions, group sessions, and you get priority reply to your emails whenever you send them out. So thank you guys. I love you. Namaste. God bless all you guys. Happy Sunday. Peace.